morning, children. Dear children, do you know about scientist? You know about scientist? Nowadays, science and technology forward, we are achieved so many states like that. Without technology, we can't do anything. But scientists lot of contribute to us. Scientists contribution, they are contribute to us. We are learn about scientist. You know about scientist, some Thomas Alva Edison invention electric bulb, Wright brothers aeroplane, James Watt steam engine, John Gutenberg printing machine, Galileo telescope. Dear children, do you know here in this lesson, Sir C V Raman, he was also a scientist. We know about him in this lesson, Sir C V Raman. Before you know scientist, our scientist Sir C V Raman, we know some other scientists have here. Isaac Newton, he, he discovered gravitation, force of gravitation. Homi Jahangir Baba, nuclear physics. Jagadish Chandra Bose, plants science. James Watt, father of taxonomy. Like that, so many scientists did so many inventions. They are contribute to human being. We are thankful to the scientists. We are remember here one of the most scientist we are see here Sir C V Raman. One of the foremost scientists here we discuss, we learn about him, the scientist Sir C V Raman. Dear children, do you know Sir C V Raman? I read this lesson, you are follow observing model reading. Sir C V Raman was a great scientist. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work on scattering light and his discovery of the effect of light's rays. The government gifted him 25 acres of land to carry out further research work. Raman Institute was the dream child of Sir C V Raman. Dear children, our scientist Sir C V Raman was a great scientist. He was a great scientist. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work on scattering of light in physics. His discovery of the effect of light rays, the government gifted him 25 acres of land to carry out further research. He made a research, no, he want a land. So the government give a land to him for further research. 25 acres land. Raman Institute was the dream child. He had a dream child. He had so many dreams. He made inventions. He has in childhood days, he had a dream child of Sir C V Raman. Dear children, we know about him in this lesson. Sir C V Raman was born on 7th November 1888. Sir C V Raman was born 7th November. 7th November 1888. 1888 in Trichy. In Trichy. Trichy means Tiruchanappalli. Trichy. He was son of Chandrasekhara Iyer and Parvati Ammal. His parents' name Chandrasekhara Iyer. Chandrasekhara Iyer and Parvati Ammal. His parents, father Chandrasekhara Iyer and mother Parvati Ammal. Chandrasekhara Iyer was a professor of physics. Sir C V Raman's father, Chandrasekhara Iyer, he was a professor of physics at Hindu College. At Hindu College, Visakhapatnam. At Hindu College. Visakhapatnam. Raman studied there. He was also studied there. Raman, father Chandrasekhara Iyer, he was a professor of physics in a Hindu college at Visakhapatnam. His son, Chandrasekhara Iyer's son, Sir C V Raman, he was also studied in that college, Hindu college, Visakhapatnam. He studied there, Hindu college, high school. He was very much interested in science. Sir C V Raman was very much interested in science subject. He was very much interested in science. From his childhood days, early days, when he was during childhood days, he was very much interested in science. Even as a boy, he had made the model of a dynamo. When he was a boy, he had made a model of a dynamo. During his school days, he borrowed science books. During his school days, high school, when he was studied in high school, then he borrowed science books from college students. He studied in high school, he borrowed science books from college students. Read them. Thus, from his early days, he showed great interest in science. This shows when he was in childhood, when he was in high school, he borrowed the books from college students, he read them. This shows he was very much interested in science. Thus, from his early days, he showed great interest in science. Unfortunately, he was very much interested in science. He have a most knowledgeable. Unfortunately, he used to fall sick now and then. Meanwhile, in between, he fell ill, he fell sick, not feeling well. He was not feeling well. He was not able to attend the school. He was suffering from diseases. So, he not attend his regular classes. He not go regular school. In spite of this poor health, in spite of because when he was not feeling well, he don't want to go to school regularly. He got first class. Even though he don't go to the school, he didn't attend the regular class, even though he took first class in his matriculation. Matriculation means SSLC. Before we called SSLC matriculation. He passed the matriculation examination in first class. When he was only a boy of 12, when he was 12-year old, he passed the intermediate examination. After matriculation, he took an exam, intermediate exam. He passed the intermediate exam from Hindu College and joined Presidency College, Madras for his BA. He joined the Madras Presidency College. He passed BA. His relatives wanted him to give up science. His relatives advised him, tell to him, you drop it, don't study about science. You study about science, so you suffering from disease, you are sick, you fell ill. That's why his relatives advise him, don't go, don't take science subject. Give up science. Leave the science, left the science subject and take history and economics. History and economics, arts. You take arts as is a special subject for BA. In a degree, Bachelor of Arts, you take history and economics. Science, you don't take science. His relatives advice like that. Since Raman had made up his mind to study science, but Raman made up his mind. Already he thought, he got idea, he learned, he studied in science, made up his mind. Already he made up his mind, study science. He took physics. He passed his degree, securing the first rank. He took science subject of physics. He passed his degree in first rank and a number of prizes. He took number of prizes. He passed his MA in physics. In olden days, MSc we called, nowadays we call MSc, physics. Before, that's also master degree also MA. Nowadays, we are considered MSc in physics. January 1907, he passed the physics in MSc in 1907. After his Raman wanted to go to the United Kingdom for higher studies. Higher studies. He wanted to go to higher studies. He wanted to go to United Kingdom, other country. But his health broke down again. Unfortunately, his dream not fulfilled. His health broke down again. Again, he fell ill. He was not feeling well. And he could not go. So he could not go. This was the greatest disappointment in his life. He wanted to go to abroad, other country, but his desire not fulfilled. That's why that is the greatest disappointment in his life. His relatives asked him to give up his study of science. Give up his study of science and take a competitive examination. His relatives advised him take a competitive exam in Kolkata. In history and economics, Raman did so. What's their Raman's relatives advised to him? You take a competitive examination about history and economics. Then Raman also did like that. He did like that, took a examination, competitive examination, and got along well with a new subjects. He took the examination about new subjects. He got the first place in the competitive examination. There also, in the competitive examination, he took a first place, first class. He was appointed deputy accountant general. When he took a first place, he took deputy accountant general post in 1907 at Kolkata. His relatives perhaps felt happy. His relatives were happy. See that Raman had settled in life. He got a government job. He was a government employee. So his relatives were happy. But Raman was not happy. But Raman was not happy. How could a scientist like Raman put up with a life of a deputy accountant general? He want to become a scientist. How can manage deputy accountant general post? He felt like a fish out of water. That job, he got a job, deputy accountant general. This was not satisfaction to him. It's like a fish out of water, irritation. It's not happy, the job. But he still had hopes. Still he had hope. He had confidence. He had hopes of becoming a scientist. He wanted to become a scientist and was waiting for an opportunity. He was waiting for an opportunity when his dream, he wanted to become a scientist. Even as Deputy Accountant General, Raman mixed with a scientist and took interest in science. When he was Deputy Accountant General, he was working there, but he was mingled with a scientist. Raman Mixup, mingled once, scientist, mixed with a scientist, took interest in science. He asked about the science. One day, while returning from his office, one day he was coming back. He completed his duty, and that day he get back from the office. He saw a banner. He saw a banner. Put the banner. He saw that banner outside the building. Outside the building, and what was printed? The banner was printed, the Indian Association of Science. The banner have the Indian Association of Science. Scientist at the sight of that banner, a sight of that banner, he looked at that banner. Raman got off the moving train, get down the moving train, and went to meet the scientist. Who had gathered in that building. In that building, he went to that building and he met the scientist. Scientists are gathered there. Sometime later, when he was in Rangoon, he learned that an institution had brought a piece of modern scientific operates. When the scientists are gathered there on that building, scientific scientific machine operator. He hurriedly put on his clothes. Suddenly, he hurriedly put on his clothes, took out of his clothes, put on his clothes, and went to have a look at it. He went to look at it. How modern machine, modern scientific operates. He concentrated to that. Such was the interest he had in science. This shows this one example. This is also one example how much interest in science subject Raman was. In 1911, Raman was appointed a special accountant general for post and telegraphs in Kolkata. Higher position. Again, appointed a special accountant general for post and a telegraph in Kolkata. But when he was offered the post of professor at Kolkata University and offered the post of professor in Kolkata University, he jumped at that offer. He resigned the special accountant general. He jumped into the professor at Kolkata University. He accepted the post happily, gladly. He was accepted. After working at Kolkata University for 15 years, after 15 years, he became the director of Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. He became the director of the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. The Raman Research Institute was started. Then Raman was started one institution, that's a Raman Research Institution in 1948. Raman resigned his post at the Indian Institute of Science. He joined the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore. Now he started one institution, Raman Institution in 1948. He resigned his Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Science. He became director of Research Institute, Research Institute. Here he conducted his researches. He conducted research in physics until his death. His own institution started, Raman Institution. Until his death, he conducted other researches until his death. Raman was a great scientist throughout his life. He was intensely attached to science. So many attachment. He loved very much the science subject. For the sake of science, the intention of science, very interest in science, he gave up the highly paid post of the Special Accountant General. He resigned the Special Accountant General and accepted the professorship of Kolkata University. He would forget all about food and rest. He, doing a research, he forgot his everything, forgot food and rest while he was at work. Once he was in research, he was doing research. His wife had often to tell him. Sometime his wife tell him that his breakfast or coffee was getting cold. So Raman was involved in his work, research. He forgot his food and rest. Sometimes his wife tell to him the food, breakfast or coffee become cold. He forgot his, like all great scientists, not only Sir C V Raman, all great scientists are doing like that. They are involving their work. They are made a research. They are intentionally, they only achieve. So they don't bother about personal life. Raman had a lot of curiosity. Raman had a lot of curiosity earlier in his life. Now he is very eagerness, curiosity before earlier life. While on a voyage to Europe, while he voyaged on Europe, voyage means you already know, dear children, sailors sailing in the ship on the sea, moving in the sea in the ship, voyage, traveling on the sea. He traveled, voyage, Europe. He saw the wonderful blue of the Mediterranean Sea. When he was voyage, when he was moving in the ship on the sea, he observing light scattering the liquids, the lights are spread out, scattering in the liquid, means water, liquid in the, means sea, water. How was the light scattering in liquids? And it ended in his discovery of the Raman effect. It's ended in Raman effect, the scattering of light. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for this scattering of light. He do the research now. He got a Nobel Prize for this in 1930. Dear children, he got the Nobel Prize for his research scattering, the light scattering, law of light scattering. He did the research, he got the Nobel Prize. Raman was a kind man. He was a kind person. He was a kind. He was a sympathized, merciful. He helped people when they were in difficulty. This shows he was he was a kind person. How we know? How we consider he was a sympathize or he was a kindful? He helped poor people. When the people in trouble, when the people in difficulty, he helped them. When he was working as the Deputy Accountant General, one example here, he was a kindful person. We know when he was a Deputy Accountant General, a villager went to him, a villager went to him, some badly burned 100 rupees notes. The villager went to him some badly means torn, old notes, 100 rupee notes. Any other person perhaps would have turned the villager away. Sometimes, instead of Sir C V Raman, other person have in that place, they are scold the villager. But Raman took pity on the villager, took sympathy on the villager, examined the notes, examined the notes himself, and allowed the villager to exchange burnt notes, torn notes, the old notes, rupees, 100 rupees notes, he exchanged and gave new notes. He took old notes from the villager, he gave a good new notes, 100 rupees notes. Once at the Raman Research Institute, this one also, one example for he was a kindful person. Another example here, dear children, once at the Raman Research Institute, a candidate was not given admission as he did not do well in his test. In his research, Raman Institution, you know children, when a person, a candidate come to admission, he did not do well in the test. The candidate did not did not don't write, he don't pass in that written test. When his traveling allowance was paid, the candidate found that he had received more. Once the candidate traveling allowance was paid, the candidate found that he had received more. A candidate received a more amount, extra amount. He returned to the office. The boy, a candidate, took a more amount. Then the boy give back to the extra amount, more amount, give back to the office to pay back excess amount. When Raman came to know of his, when Raman liked him, know about him, he liked the candidate's honesty. He liked the candidate's honesty. He did not write in the well in the written test, but his honesty, he liked his honesty. He admitted him to the institute. He gave an opportunity to the candidate because of his honesty. The candidate was not able to make out why he was admitted. Why he was admitted? Because his honesty. When he had not done well in his test, he did not well in his test. But it seems Raman told the candidate, I have admitted you to the institution. I have give opportunity I have admitted to you in our institution because of your honesty, because of your character. You are not very good at physics. You are not very good at in physics, but I can teach you. I can teach you. He was a professor. He told to him, I can teach you. You are not well in physics subject, but I like your honesty. Told that. It shows also he was a kindful person. In the end, during his life, Raman received number of honors and medals. He received number of medals, honors, honors and medals, prizes. In 1929, he was knighted by King George V and became Sir C V Raman. Sir C V Raman. The king knighted in England government give the title, give that prize, give the title to the scientist that is a Sir. The Sir title the England government give to the Raman. The king knighted, give the king name knighted, Knight, knight, the King George V give a government, the England government give the title Sir, the Sir, the England government give a that prize to him, that honor to C V Raman. Became Sir C V Raman. A number of universities honored him. Number of universities, so many universities honored him with doctorates. Doctorates. He was a member of many international scientific organizations. So many international organizations, scientific organization. He was one of the member also. In 1954, the government of India awarded him Bharat Ratna. The Indian government awarded Bharat Ratna. Bharata Ratna. Indian government honored him Bharat Ratna. In 1954, the Indian government awarded him Bharat Ratna. In 1957, the Soviet Union honored him by awarding the International Lenin Prize. This prize give to the only scientist. International Lenin Prize in 1957. Raman took so many awards, honors from so many universities. Raman died on November 21st, 1970 at the age of 82. Raman was Raman was died on November 21st, 1970 at the age of 82. In his death, India lost one of her great sons. India lost one of her great sons. And the world, not only India, in the world, great scientist lost the great scientist. So, dear children, do you understood? Sir C V Raman was greatest scientist. Among the foremost scientists, he was also a greatest scientist. Thank you.